All right, I have some API governance work I'm going to do here. So let me share my screen. I am in my OpenAPI or API governance workspace, public workspace here. Let me close up all my collections, make it a little prettier. There we go. So I'm in the workspace here. Here's the URL. I can share it out. It's also, you can find it in the Postman API network. Just search for governance, or it's one of the featured workspaces. And there's a bunch of information on how to use everything here. But the idea is this uses the exact same testing infrastructure that uh, users use Postman for to test API implementations. So there's a whole testing layer built into being able to make calls to APIs. But instead of testing APIs, I'm just using the infrastructure to govern APIs, and I'm going to be pulling the Open API for a specific API, and then using that Open API to answer a bunch of questions or run a bunch of tests to make sure it's all working as expected. So I've got them organized into different collections here. I used to have it as one big one, but so basically here's one on just information. We'll start with the kind of most basic is you can find out information about the API itself. So just the name, the description, the contact info, terms of service, and licensing for the API. But before you can use it, we've got to configure it because we want to pull the API using its workspace name, its API name, and the version. And what we're going to do here is this is just pulling from the Postman API. So we're pulling APIs using the Postman API, and I'm going to pass in these three variables. Now, here's the Open API we're pulling. So products. This is the Open API for my products API. And if I go back here to my collection, I'm pulling from this governance workspace. The name of the API is products, and you want to make sure to pull the right version. So if we're looking at the Open API here, the version's right up here because you can have multiple versions with your Open API using Postman API Builder. So I've got all the information here. I'm going to hit send. I'm calling the Postman API, and it's going to loop through until it finds the right API and the right version. And then once it grabs it, it's going to throw it up here into this environment. So I have an environment for each of my APIs. This is for product. And I'm storing all the details, the results of my questions here. I'm not going to click on it because it's got my keys in it for my Postman API. But now I should have the Open API, so I shouldn't need to configure it again. I can just close up the configure bucket here and start asking some of these questions. So, and it's just going to pull the API ID, the version, and the schema ID for me, and just answer the question. And it doesn't work again. Why does this not work for me? Keep hitting a problem, and I think it's that one request I gotta fix. So let's test this out again. There we go. Okay, it is that one request. So basically, it pulls the Open API for me from the Postman API, and then here's the part that I'm talking about. It's using the same test infrastructure that I would normally test an API to answer these governance questions. So I'm answering, does the name of the API meet requirements? Is the title greater than 5? Yes. Is the title less than 25? Because we want short names for our APIs. Yes. And does the name of the API meet requirements? Yes, because it meets both of these questions. So I've answered 3 questions. Is there a description for the API? Again, I can click on test results and does it have a description? Yes. Is it greater than 100? No. Is the API description less than 1,000? Yes, but it didn't meet all the requirements because it did not match that one. So I can go through and check all of these. Does it have a license? And each one of these questions that I ask, they're getting stored up here in the environment too. So not only am I displaying pass or fail to each of these, I'm saving the results up here into one environment. And as I work my way through all the questions, answering these questions, I can I can dive in deeper to the API. So I can look at like paths. Is there a trailing slash on all the paths? And no, there is not a trailing slash on all of them. Maybe I want it to be the reverse. Maybe I want them to all not have a trailing slash. So we'd reverse the logic for that. This just uses the test scripts to implement all of this. Each of these. So each of these questions are kind of portable. You can share them. You can organize them into different folders or different collections. I can dive in deeper to the schema and start looking. Do all schemas have examples? Yeah, all the schemas have examples. Do they have properties? Yep, we're all good there. Do all the schemas have descriptions? Ooh, no. I'm really bad at putting descriptions. None of them have descriptions. So I can, and it actually tells me, each one has what the field name that doesn't have a description. So this is elastic depending on what I'm working with. So I can organize a set of governance questions. I can organize them by collection. This is looking at different parts of the Open API, but you can kind of name them and organize them in different ways based upon different domains, different types of questions that you're asking. Also have this reporting, which does not work with the new structure because I broke these out. But there is a report that uses the visualizer. Here's what it does. I think it just runs and fails. But what it does is it loops through all your questions, and then it should publish to visualizer, and I don't think it's working. So there's a reporting mechanism, and then I've created some other kind of utility ones. Here's one. That will evaluate the scope of your API. So you can click here to visualize, and you'll see that there are two paths to get methods, one post, and it goes through and kind of tallies up everything. One path parameter, one query parameter, no headers, no request bodies. And so I can use this to kind of, quantify the scope of each of my APIs. But what this gives me is the ability to define a central set of governance collections, either as one collection or a suite of collections. I can have a reporting kind of scope management tools, and I can organize these here, and then I can share them wherever they're needed. So if you need to share it to another workspace to apply to an open API that exists there, you can do that, and you can come up with a method for creating new environments, and you can govern different APIs. So I'm going to keep managing this out in the open, revisiting it regularly, and I'll kind of document what's going on here on the homepage. But you can comment on any existing collection. You can leave a comment if you have any comments. You can leave it on specifically on the request itself. So any of these, you'll see there's some of them I've already started leaving comments and working my way through because I don't have time to do everything. But this will be where I kind of manage all the central governance and keep things going. Anyways, I think that's all I had to share today.